But first, it's a physical condition that a lot of young athletes suffer from, people of all walks of life, scoliosis. But it's something that's very difficult to understand and even more difficult to treat. But we found one local athlete who not only overcame it, but now is excelling once again on the athletic field. Iolani Sara Watanabe has been playing sports for as long as she can remember.
I've been around athletics all my life. Like my older brother played baseball, so I was always around baseball, and it's a really big part of my life. Ever since I was young, my dad really stressed the importance of athletics, and I really enjoyed it. Like he didn't really have to get me into it. Like I was already into it.
From softball to basketball to volleyball, Sara was more than just into it. The three-sport player excelled at athletics, and little, if anything, could slow her down until one day she started experiencing back pain.
So then I went to my pediatrician, and he had me bend over regular checkup, and he said, "Oh, one side is higher than the other."
For Sara and her family, that initial diagnosis set in motion a series of events that would eventually lead them down a long and frightening path. She learned she had scoliosis. At the time, it wasn't too bad.
Well, we thought that it was going to be the kind that I would grow out of it, because that's what usually happens, but then I missed a couple appointments, a checkup, and then we noticed that it got really, it progressed a lot.
It went from 17 degrees to 23, and usually with the scoliosis, if it's more than 30 degrees, then it's time to brace. And so we were hoping that she wouldn't get to that point, but she got, but the next visit after 27, it got to 40. So we went past the bracing period, we missed it.
As difficult as the condition was for Sara, it was perhaps more alarming for her father, former UH baseball star Kurt Watanabe. As a physical therapist, he has a greater understanding about the mechanics of the human body, but as it turns out, that knowledge offered little consolation.
When she got the scoliosis, I started to do more research and found that a lot of the journal articles say that there's no real treatment for it. So I started to do my own stretching. I put her over the edge of a sofa and just bent her to see if we could make some changes. And she would say, "Dad, you're making me worse." So we tried. I just tried. She was the guinea pig.
That's when the family decided on surgery as the last and only option.
If not, then by the time she's 50 years old, she'll be about 100 degrees bent to the side, and her heart and lungs would be affected by that. So that's why we decided we need to make some change.
Hours of research ultimately led Sara and her family to Dr. David Skaggs at the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles.
Dr. Skaggs just made me really confident, because he showed me past patients that he has done surgery on, and one was a gymnast and she was flipping and doing everything after, so I was pretty confident in Dr. Skaggs and what I would be able to do after.
But while Sara was confident, Mom and Dad had second thoughts, and for good reason.
Well, the doctor before surgery took us in there and he said she could come out of this paralyzed. I think that was a big fear. So we went back to her room and said, "Should we cancel this?" And Dee and I decided, at that point we said, "Let's cancel this surgery, but let's ask Sara first." And she said, "I just want to have it done."
I need to do this, and I can get taller if I do this. But honestly, it was really painful, and I was having a hard time sleeping and just functioning because they're so sore. So I told my parents, I was like, "I need to do this, and no matter what happens, I'll be fine." And I have 100% confidence in Dr. Skaggs, so I'll come out of it fine.
As it turns out, Sara was right, and while her recovery wasn't easy, the results speak for themselves.
Things are pretty awesome. Yeah. I don't really notice my rod in my spine unless it's after a really hard practice and it aches a little bit, but I don't let it bother me.
It just happened so quick. She had the surgery in December of '09. By March of 2010, she was already training. And by June of 2010, there was no restrictions. Doctor said, "Go ahead, do anything you want."
Today, it's full steam ahead for Sara, who still has a hard time looking at those before and after x-rays of her spine.
I didn't know it was that crooked. Like, it was pretty bad, but I'm happy where I am today and how it's still straight and it's still like good. Everything's in place, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, every time she dives, we still there's fear that something might happen, that a screw gets loose, but you know, she's been active and she's been strong, and mentally she's always been strong. So I think that really helps with her recovery as well as her performance. There's no fear.
I'm not too afraid of what my spine can do. Like, I'm confident in what it can do, and I know my limits. So.
Kind of bionic now, right? You're stronger than before.
Yeah, to some extent I am. I'm working on it.
Tell you what, it's not surprising that Sara would overcome this because she's tough as nails, like her father said, and he would know. He's a former University of Hawaii baseball player. In his day, he was known as Tank, and is one tough family.